Why is there evil and suffering if God is love?
Okay, I'm here to answer this question. Okay, and the question is, why is there evil and suffering if God is love? Okay, why is there evil and suffering if God is love? Now, this is a question that is asked a lot, and it's answered also a lot. Okay, but people still ask this question. Okay, so this is something that people really wrestle with. This is something that people really wrestle with. I think especially in the Western society, there is this wrestle. If God is good, if God is all loving, then why is there still evil? Why is there still suffering? Why not God just remove all the evil and suffering from the world? Let me read you this passage in Galatians chapter 5. Okay, in Galatians chapter 5, Paul says this. Okay, he says in verse 12. He says, "As for those agitators, I wish they would go the whole way and emasculate themselves." I'll say that again. As for those agitators, I wish they would go the whole way and emasculate themselves. Okay, so what is Paul talking about? He's talking about, in the book of Galatians, he's talking about this. He's kind of having this fight with these people who came to the church of Galatia and started to teach them, you have to be circumcised in order to be saved. You need to do the traditional Jewish ritual of cutting off the foreskin of the male in order to be saved. Okay? So why did the Jews do that? Okay? The Jews did that as God commanded them to do it first and foremost. But what is the reason? What is the purpose? It is to be clean. Okay, to be clean in terms of sexually. In terms of love, you have to be clean. You have to be pure. So there is this kind of circumcision. But then right now, these people, these Jews, who's telling the Galatia church you have to circumcise. Okay? And Paul says, I wish they would just go all the way, the whole way, and emasculate themselves. In other words, cut the whole thing off. Okay, turn into eunuchs. So why am I talking about this? I bet you've heard many answers to this question, but perhaps this is something that you've never heard before. Okay, Paul says, if you want to, if you want to just be clean, if you just want to be clean, why don't you just cut off your whole sexual organ? Why don't you just cut it off? Okay. Oh, that sounds insane, right? Okay. Why does that sound? Because you're damaging, and you're damaging that person. That person becomes a handicapped person. Okay. That person, of course, that person will not able to commit sexual sins anymore. It's true, but that person will also not be able to live as a normal human being, to marry and to have children and to make love to the person that he loves. Okay. That's the thing. If you take away the sexual organ, then you take away all possibilities of sin, but you also take away all possibility of good. Okay? What is the world that God has created? What is man that God has created? Okay? God created man with the possibility of committing both sin and good. God created man to have that possibility, two ways. So what is that? That is freedom. Freedom. It is freedom to choose. So a lot of people can't understand, why did God put the tree of knowledge of good and evil right there in the middle of the garden? Why did God place something that if you eat of that, God said that day you will die? Then why put it there in the first place? Take away that choice. Okay? Take away the choice. Take away evil. Take away pain. Take away sorrow. Take away tragedies. Take away everything that is bad, and then this world will be good. No. You take away all that is bad, then this world will no longer have freedom. Okay? Will no longer have choice. Okay? There will be no more choice. Okay? That is the sentiment of a totalitarian government. Okay, a totalitarian government. If you watch enough movies, you will know, okay, it never ends well. It never ends well. They take away the choice. Okay, they take away, there's all kinds of theories, right? There was this very famous movie that they took away people's emotions. If you take away emotions, then you will not have desires. If you don't have desires, then you will not sin. Then the world will be at peace. Okay? But how does it turn out? There is ultimately always it turns out as a tragedy. Okay? Man, freedom to do good and to do evil, has always been that's a fundamental part of who we are as human beings. Okay? So, if you take away that, then there is no human being. If you take away that, you get robots. You get programmable robots. So why did a God of love, okay, allow evil, a world to exist with evil and with pain? Okay? And the reason is exactly that. It's in the question. Okay? Because he is a God of love. In order to allow for the existence of love, there has to be freedom. There has to be the possibility then for good, both good and evil. Okay? So freedom is the reason, and freedom is because of love. Okay? This powerful freedom that has the power to even commit evil, okay? It is necessary in order for love to exist. So because he is a God of love, that's why he gave freedom. The problem is that man took that freedom and we used it for evil. We used it for evil, and that evil is what caused the pain and the sins. Okay? But don't blame the freedom. Okay? We should not blame the freedom or the God of love who gave the freedom. Okay? The fault squarely lies on the shoulders of the one who chose to take that freedom and use it for evil. Okay? So whenever you think of this question, I hope that you think of Paul's words in Galatians chapter 5, verse 12. Okay? If you want to cut off, then cut off the whole thing. Why don't you cut off the whole thing? Turn that person into a eunuch. Okay? If that person is no longer whole, okay? Then that person is no longer whole. Okay? I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Thank you for watching. If you want to see more of Pastor David from Immanuel Church Sydney, check him out in the description below. And also check out other videos and like, share, and subscribe. Oh, don't forget to hit that bell notification.